Hello. In this lesson, I want you to graph quadratic functions, and I want you to find and interpret the maximum and minimum values of a quadratic function. We're going to do a lot of vocabulary word because we're in the beginning of a unit. Some vocabulary we're going to come across is quadratic function, quadratic term, linear term, constant term, parabola, axis of symmetry, vertex, maximum value, and minimum value. You did a lot of this in Algebra 1, so hopefully those will be kind of a review for you. First off, a quadratic function is any function that has a squared term in it. The other terms can be, they don't even have to be there, but you can have A, B, and C can be any numbers in the world, except A can't be 0, because if A was 0, that would be not quadratic. The term with just the x, that's your linear term, and the term by itself, that's your constant term. When you graph it, it's going to be in what we call a parabola. It's a U-shaped graph. It can be opening up or opening down. It can be a thin U, it can be a wide U. That we're all going to determine by some properties that we're going to learn. First thing we're going to do is we're going to graph this by making a table of values. So when you make a table of values, we're going to make x and y. And what I want is I want to find a U-shaped. Now when I make a table, I always like to go like -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. We might add more terms because I need to get a U shape. So if you don't get your U, you might have to add more terms. Now I'm going to start with 0 because nice things happen with 0. That means 0 plus 0 minus 1. So 0 and -1 is going to be your first term. So I'm going to plot that on my graph, 0 and -1. Now let's do 1. 1 squared, if we use our term, 1 squared is 1. Plus 3 times 1 is 3, minus 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, minus 1 is 3. So when you're at 1, I'm going to be up at 3. Already I notice I'm going to the right here, aren't I? But let's do 2. So 2 squared is 4. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 1. 4 plus 6 is 10, minus 1 is 9. Notice I'm off the graph here, aren't I? 2 and 9, way up here. I'm not even going to try 3 because I know I'm just getting bigger and bigger. Let's go backwards. Let's try -1. -1 squared is 1. Minus 3 minus 1. Because 3 times -1 is -3. 1 minus 1 is 0, so you're at -3. So when you're at -1, we're down here at -3. Okay, that looks good. Let's do -2. -2 squared is 4. 3 times -2 is -6 minus 1. Well, that's 4 minus 7, really, which is also -3. That's interesting. -2, you're also at -3. So what happens here, since we know it's a U-shaped, it's not a stencil U, it's a U-shape. That means my vertex is probably going to be down here in between these two. Notice I'm starting to rise up again. If I put in -3, I should be the same as when I did 0. Let's find out. -3 squared is 9. 3 times -3 is -9 minus 1. So I get -1. So I'm at -3. I'm at -1. It's symmetric. It's a parabola. It's U-shaped. So there you go. That's how you, whoa, that did not go far enough down there. Let's try that again. There we go. There is your parabola. Now that's what you're going to do when you make a table of value. You make a table, you graph it until you get the U. Once you see the U, sketch in your parabola. Sketch in your U.